There's the chicks pecking away at their food that I just put in there for them. They got things incredibly dirty yesterday, I don't know how. Look at the water drinker over there, it's empty, they've drank it all and it's filthy, so I'm going to change that in a minute. There's only 3 there, so one must be laying an egg. So hi, and thanks for joining me. Well, not much has changed this week. Things have grown a bit. Things have grown quite a lot, actually. So I'm just feeding the chickens, and we'll have a quick wander around and look at things. I feed them, basically, it's called poultry corn. It's just a mix of different corns that they seem to like. There's my other cat, who's a bit more sociable these days. Anyway. She's a very naughty cat, but she's a good one. Keeps the mice down, she does, doesn't she? Yeah. Good girl. There she is, laying an egg in the shed. I'm not going to disturb her too much. Let's put that down. And there's the other cat, both cats together. We don't often see that. So sort of going round like we did last week, this is the bag of the heritage variety, the heirloom variety potatoes. They haven't grown that much, but they've grown a little bit, and they're starting to get pecked out by birds and things now on the leaves. That's one of those things that happens. I don't want to put poisons down and poison all the birds. Got to work with nature. And I'm sure there's plenty of potatoes actually coming through now, as we'll see in a minute. Let's have a walk around here. This patch is still not doing much, actually. The carrots are growing down the middle there quite nicely, and there are potatoes coming up as well, which I obviously didn't manage to completely pull out, but who cares, it's all food. There's that potato there still growing. I've planted some leeks in here. They don't seem to be coming up yet, but we don't expect them really till June, so I'm not too worried. But there's a potato coming, there's another potato coming, and there's a cat going and sitting on the... Don't sit on there. Come on, don't sit on there. Naughty. You know what I want, don't sit on there. And here we've got some lettuces coming through that I got skanked on eBay. Paid far too much for these lettuces. Just these little light green things are lettuces, and they're coming. Nothing much to see here yet. This is the patch where there's a 10-foot by 2-foot patch that I prepared for the purple sprouting broccoli, and the seeds are all inside this thing, which I've weighted down with stones. They're good, these cloches. You can adjust the amount of airflow, keep them warmer or cooler or whatever. I'll just shut that down a bit because it is a bit cooler these days, but that will keep the ground nice and warm and help them to come through. And then coming up here, these all grew quite a bit about a week ago, just after I made the last video. We had a massive downpour of rain, and it had been very dry indeed, so they hadn't been doing anything much, and they've suddenly really taken off quite nicely. This is the one we earthed up last week. If I come down a bit, you can see that 2 of them are ready for earthing up again, and they're nearly ready for the second tire to go on. But if I do that, I'll swamp this little one, so we'll leave that a bit longer yet. Same story in that tire at the end, really. They're growing lovely, but just not ready really for the next earthing up. These are fabulous though. These really took off. These are supermarket potatoes that were sold for eating, and their offspring will certainly get eaten. These are called Rudolph, this variety, and they have this distinctive kind of, if I come in close, they have a sort of redness on the stalks that you don't get on all potatoes, but they are red potatoes, that's how they're going to go. And they're really taking off, they're lovely. There's the big patch. There's been some progress because I've added a second, in fact it's a third carrot bag. The artichokes don't seem to have grown much actually, they seem to be standing still, but never mind, they're not my favourite and I don't care too much about them. I give them my best shot, but I don't worry too much about artichokes because I've got no idea what they even taste like. But I did a second carrot bag. Let's go and have a look. So there's a few slug pellets in there just to discourage predators. They're going to need a watering actually. It's rained a lot in the last week, but it is drying out again now. And those are just from that tub over there, which was full last week, and I cleared out one side of that tub and all those carrots went in there. That's only in the last week or so, so they haven't really started growing yet. They have grown a little bit actually, but not much. I've come over to this one. These are really going for it. This was the first bag I did. Forgotten how long ago now, about a month ago I think. And come down so you can see how tall they are. They're really tall. These things are tiny, but these are really, really going for it. So there's going to be no carrot shortage this year. You never know what's going to grow, and I think this is going to be a carrot year. So there's the artichokes. Doing their thing very slowly. I guess they're growing, but they're not doing much. Those leeks still haven't come up. No leeks have come up yet. It's one of those things. Chives there, and these are some leeks left over from last year, which they've got a bit bigger. They're definitely growing, but nothing to write home about yet. And there's carrot bag number 2. It's a little bit behind the big one, but they're growing as well. Look, this one's a real monster. And we come over and look at the rhubarb. And I picked some of this rhubarb and ate it. You've got to keep picking it or it stops growing. But there are lots of them coming through here. I'll probably pick this one next and maybe this one at the back. And there's lots of little ones ready to come up as soon as they can get the sun. I haven't actually filled the top tyre with earth, but there was no need. The point of putting a tyre on top is, well, a lot of people put a long tube on top and it just forces the rhubarb to grow straight up. And so you get kind of longer stems and more crop from that. I started trying to dig this into a vegetable bed last week and I just ended up doing that bag of carrots, the second bag, because gosh, there are so many stones in there. I understand why the weeds build up, because it rains and there are weed seeds in the air that drop there. That's bound to happen. But how does the soil fill up with stones and rocks? I've never seen it raining stones and rocks. And I certainly don't want to see it raining stones and rocks, but it seems to. And that's pretty much it. That's more or less all I did with the garden last week. Had other stuff going on. But with all the work of gardening, at some point you get to stand back and watch it grow. Just keep an eye on it, keep the slugs off. There's another tyre with some potatoes coming through in it, slowly but surely. There's some weeds I dug out of the ground that I'm going to feed to the chickens very soon. Nothing goes to waste, you know, the chickens will have whatever's there. And some more potatoes there. These are quite small ones, I don't think they're going to be big, but they would be a pain in the neck to peel because they're so small, but if you kind of clean them up and eat them skin on, it's great. They're the tiny little ones. You can chop them in half and saute them in a frying pan and they come up lovely. It's just a random tub that I put various leftover seeds and things in. There's a tiny potato plant coming through. That's about it. And we look at the shed. I haven't shown you my shed before really. There's a water butt here, but it leaks. There's never much water in it. Gonna have to get a new one, but I think, yeah, it's nearly empty, but I think that's gonna, oh, it's good with your voice, isn't it? Wow, makes a real deep voice there. I think that's gonna make quite a good compost container. I just have to sort it out at the bottom because I don't really want to tap on it, and I certainly don't want it leaking. Some old posts and things there. There's my smallest chicken. She's a real small one. She's never grown, but she lays eggs and she's friendly. She's great, really. And down there, that's loads of roots that I've given the chickens to rootle through and eat. And it's all covered with wire to keep the foxes out. So, let's have a look in here. I've got loads of junk here that I want to take to the scrap yard, the recycling yard, but it's closed at the moment. I hear it might be reopening next week. And just a pile of wood there, which is going to be cut up for firewood. And we come inside the shed. There's loads more firewood. I've got the bandsaw there to cut it up with, but that's something I may get round to today, because it's all part of the old ways of living, just kind of wasting nothing if you can help it. So these are all branches and stuff that fell down over the track in the last year or so, and some of it is what I gathered up in winter. There's a video of going wood gathering in the car. And 2 weed whackers there. The furthest one away is a Kawasaki TH26, and it's really good and really powerful. Next to it is a very old still, and I made a video of that, but it's never worked in all the time I've had it. I paid 2 GBP, £2 for it at auction, and lots of farmers were standing around laughing, so I probably shouldn't have bought it, because I guess they knew it wasn't going to work. Still stuff usually is indestructible, but I think that's had it. So if we come over here past the chicken run, I've got my chair there, and this is a patch I cleared. This is where lots of wood was standing around. There's still some of it left. There just isn't enough room in the shed for all the wood, but I'll get some cut up and then I can move it. And I just cleared this and I levelled it. I'd like to put a tent on here, because the weather is going to be nice. That's my affirmation. The weather is going to be nice soon. It's May and it's bound to happen. Nice big bag of logs here, actually, which I think I'll be using because it's a colder day today, so I'll take some of those in the house and get the fire lit. And look at these potatoes. These are growing really well now. Second tyre idea is working, and this one over here in particular is ready for the 3rd time. If I just come down a bit, see how tall they've grown. Massive. So I think that's going to be on the list of things to do today. And even these are doing something. They're actually standing up a bit more than they were doing a week ago. I think they must be old seeds. I bought them on eBay, and I think they're just kind of older than advertised, because they're not really doing it. But they're meant to be spring onions, and some of them are going for it, so not too bad. Right, I'm going to get on with giving the chickens some water and earthing those potatoes up and whatever else comes up, because life is always throwing stuff at us that we've got to do. Thanks again for watching. Thumbs up please if you've enjoyed it. Leave me a comment, we'll share the journey. How are your veggies doing, if you're growing any? And if you're not growing any, never mind, you know, leave me a comment anyway. It's always good to know who I'm talking to. So take care of yourselves, guys. I'll be along again very soon. Peace.